Dr. Tara Kaur, and I practice general dentistry in Edina, Minnesota. I'm also an eco-friendly dentist, and so one of the fundamental principles in my practice is to really look at the whole picture, look at the whole person as a patient, look at the whole clinic as a comprehensive organism, a living being. So one of the things that I was noticing in my office was that things weren't feeling connected and grounded. And there was a lot of turnover with staff members, and I wasn't feeling supported as well. I was feeling exhausted at the end of the day and almost overwhelmed by some of the day-to-day tasks. So a couple of my patients that came in to see us as regular patients had just, off of this side note of conversation, mentioned Feng Shui. And Carole's name came up several times with that. Some of the things that they were talking about were the plants that we have in the office and how that brought some warmth and life into the office. They also were talking about how we have lots of color and things like that in the front reception in particular. So they were already versed in what Feng Shui was, and were appreciating some of the elements that we had in our clinic. But it was nice to hear from them that Carole was a good source or a good resource. So I ended up contacting Carole, and she came into the office and she did a very thorough walkthrough of the clinic with me, and then made some really brilliant suggestions on how we could very easily incorporate some Feng Shui concepts into the clinic, both physically and energetically, to help me feel more supported, to help the clinic feel more grounded, and to help our patients feel more safe and comfortable, and the team members as well. So she came in and we went through the clinic. We made some very simple changes, but very powerful and effective changes.
Well, starting off with Tara, first of all, she had a beautiful space. So I knew we weren't far off the mark. I knew that there would probably be some very subtle things to do, and she could shift into it. I also could tell she was totally open to just about anything I would say, which is a good thing. And so I thought, for one thing, I felt very privileged to be here because she clearly knew how to put a space together. So we weren't starting from scratch. We were really starting from a pretty elevated physical spot in her clinic. And I think that I could see that this few little things that we would do, sometimes it's just this little thing and it is just huge. It's like you could almost visibly or audibly hear the change, like something clunks into space, into place. And you'd go, see, that was just it. That's all we had to do. So I was excited. She was so excited. I met the staff. We walked around. I mean, it was there was no withholding any information or withholding any areas. And believe it or not, I do run into that. So it was just a delight right from the get-go. And she has long-term plans, which she shared with me in terms of her future, and which helps me kind of put things in a perspective. So it's just been a delight, and it's been really beautiful to see how she's very gently. I mean, sometimes I leave and I know that weekend they're just going to rip everything apart. But with Tara, it was more of a gradual, she waited for the right artwork. In fact, she created her own artwork, which is even better. But she created it, and she was waiting for the right thing and waiting for the moment, and that timing all comes into play with that as well. So I just appreciated being part of the process.
That's awesome. As I hear you ladies talk, the word intentional keeps coming up in my mind.
That is
Very
that's right.
intentional.
Yeah, very
So,
intentional.
Beautifully done.
Yeah. And it is interesting how some small things, just something subtle, and you were so open to it. Certainly, we've done a ceremony here to just shift energy, and a lot of times people aren't really open to that. They're open to Feng Shui, but you know that's as far as it goes. But we did, you know, and I really appreciate that because that sort of remodels things on another level,
Yes.
an unseen, invisible level, which is sometimes is even more important than moving furniture around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think was the biggest? What was the one that had the biggest impact for you? What changed, do you think?
I think there were three things. The first thing was reconfiguration in the reception waiting area.
Yeah,
I think that was the big one. The second thing I think was this idea of balancing the elements. So I felt, you know, now that I know more and now that I've been through this process, you know, I was very aware of how much metal there was in this clinic, and that's awesome for a clinic because you need the precision and you need that kind of laser-like focus and all of that. But that's not the warm and fuzzy stuff. And so I really appreciated balancing the elements and bringing that warmth into the clinic, still keeping it very metal, but balancing that out a bit. So that was the second big thing I think that I noticed. And then the third, I think, just has to do with feeling supported in the space. I just feel less tired at the end of the day. I feel like I am more, it's easier for me to speak what my need is and delegate if I'm feeling overwhelmed or whatever it happens to be.
And do you know why that is?
No.
We changed your office around.
That probably is
That's
it.
right.
Yep.
You were really in a much less supportive.
Yes.
So you're very vulnerable in that office.
Yes.
And you moved a couple pieces of furniture.
Yes.
Well, I think it was more than that, but it looked like it
Well,
was a couple pieces of furniture.
It was just flip-flopping it, basically.
And it really was flip-flopping.
Yeah.
And suddenly there you are in a place that makes you really the leader.
And it feels more protected, but it feels more powerful, and I definitely get more done throughout my day because I'm not
interrupted.
Right, I'm not in the path of vision there. So I would say those are the top three things that I really noticed pretty much right away from our initial time together in the office.
Yeah. So one of the things that Tara talked to me about was feeling unsupported, and so that was a kind of a cue that I should look to see what was saying about her space, because she's a dentist. I'm not going to start moving her dental chair around and have her patients meet in some weird place. So we look at her office, and so this is what we were seeing in her office. Is she actually had her desk right in here. So when she was sitting at her desk, she was vulnerable to the door, to the entry door to her clinic, and to people sitting in the waiting room, which leaves you feel exposed. You feel like you're kind of feeling like you're just not protected and supported, lack of support. So it was lovely. She had done a beautiful job in here, of course, but my suggestion was she had a little round table over in this nice little area to exchange the two, and so she did. So this has a round table, which means that she could be here with a client, she could be here with an employee, and so that's more of a public experience. And then she is protected by the wall and sits in this office in a very strong and powerful way, so that she's got this strong, solid background. She's got her credentials behind her, so it's sort of like the wind beneath her wings. And she can sit here, and the only time she would be seen is if actually a patient were leaving or an employee were actually walking by, but not just accidentally, just sitting over there, somebody coming in and watching her. So it really shifted things a lot for Tara, because it gave her a sense of some privacy, and that's really what she needed. Yeah, this was an area where I wanted to incorporate the 5 Chinese elements. This for sure, because this is their first impression, is what's happening, and she's done such a great job with it, unbeknownst, I think, to her.
Yes.
I don't think she quite realized
No.
what you're doing, but this is indicative of a person who's really in touch with her space and energy, that you can do that without much guidance on money.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
But she had water, she has plants, she has this metal, the metal, and the ceiling is a metal that's white, it's round, it's really great. She has a lot of earth in terms of the countertops, the wood tops, all earth energy. And of course, the one thing we were missing was that fire piece. And she happens to have a receptionist here
Yes.
who is very fire, but
Yes.
we don't want to count people. So she added some artwork that had fire in it, which was some reds. And that really like nailed it. So my experience is that break rooms are usually, they tell the true story about a business, because usually they're kind of the junk room, because nobody knows what to do with the stuff, and we'll just put it in the break room, and then people try to eat in there. Well, this is a whole different story. So she has set up an incredible room. We did some ideas, we had some ideas in here. She implemented everything, which was fabulous. Some nice storage under the smocks. A great place for them to eat. She's got a little kitchenette for them. And it's just a fun, beautiful little place.
Well, I love the scrubs. The color of the scrubs was a big deal for me. And having the organization. So I'm a very organized person, but I really love not having open shelves, just having something that has a little softness with the fabric, and yet there's a place for everything to be. I also like the fact that there's these pops of color. So I really love the bright artwork, and I love the furniture that's back here. I think it's the size is appropriate and it's welcoming. But I value my team. I couldn't do it without my team. So I wanted a place that was a nice spot for people to take a break and feel comfortable and still feel bright and enlivened, even though it is a space without windows and things like that. It seriously has been an incredible journey to watch the space change, to watch how I feel in the space, feeling much more supported and connected and grounded in the space, watching my team members and how they're interacting with the space, with our patients, and then also with each other in the team, and then watching the growth of the business in it as well. So it's been a fantastic journey, both personally and professionally, and I'm so grateful for your wisdom and your ability to come in and really identify areas that just simple changes made such an effective transformation.